July 22nd, 2025 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you are with us, and for those watching online, we are glad you're with us as well. We'll begin as we always do with an invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand with me. Dear Heavenly Father, please watch over our community and this board and try to make good decisions for our community. Please watch over the family of our friends, Water District, as they mourn the loss of one of their team members. Please watch over our men and women in uniform and first responders both here and abroad. We say these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Magistrate Starks.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
Magistrate Southard.
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Yes, ma'am.
And Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you have before you the minutes of the July 8th, 2025 Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved. Second.
They can't hear you.
Can you hear me? We will work on getting that volume increased. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Obviously, we have a busy agenda today, and we will try to work through it as efficiently as possible. We'll begin with an update on the Water District project to fix leaks, and Mark Julian, the director, is here with us. Mark, if you could please come to the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we started this project on June 1st, and in the past 7 or 8 weeks, we have got our zones established. We don't have July customer data, like billing data, for about another week, so we're basically using May's purchased water and May's numbers to give us our metrics. In April, one second. In April, we had water loss at 38.86%. In May, we were down to 34.93%, and June's numbers were at 34%. So we are trending in the right direction. Today and tomorrow, we are doing some flow metering in the zone with the highest water loss, which is zone 4. That's like Heppardsville, some portions of Niagara. It's out near the 1078 and 416 interchange. That's where the Delaware tank is. So we basically dug a pit there, and we're going to be doing flow metering there. We're going to be turning some valves, and we've got we're a member utility of Kentucky Rural Water. So Nathan Gasaway is going to be out there with us today, and we're going to be doing that flow metering tomorrow. So that's going to help us find out where some of these leaks are. We eventually will be getting some meters installed and be ramping up our efforts. Our contractor has fixed a few leaks. They are working on the airport water line, as you all know, I'm sure, the airport taxiway and runway extension. So the contractor that we procured for that is working on that project. They should be finishing up this week, though, and we'll be ramping up our leak efforts. But I have, in the past 2 months, we have 30 leaks fixed, and we plan on ramping that up. I really have a whole lot of documentation to go over with Kurt and the county treasurer. I have statements and everything. Did y'all have any questions?
I think I was going to ask for some of those statements, but if you can turn them in and we'll distribute it to them in court. And,
Absolutely.
I assume they're about the money you've spent so far on the items that you listed in your proposal.
Yes, I have that. Yes.
Good deal. Is it okay if we gather that and send it out to y'all? And so the next time you come and give us an update, you might have more questions about that. It would help if the next time, you might submit that beforehand.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Any other questions of Mark?
How does it affect the installation of new meters and things like that?
How does it affect the installation?
Because I'm getting feedback that there's big delays on that, so what are you doing to offset that?
So, I've got a water accountability tech that's getting ready to be hired August 1st, and then as soon as that person is hired, we've got a SCADA. That's something I do need to talk about with y'all. There's a SCADA upgrade, that's our telemetry, that's going out, that is out to bid right now.
What does that stand for?
That is our telemetry that basically tells when a tank is full and a pump station will kick on. I mean, when a pump station will kick on when the tank is empty and it will fill. And right now there's bad communication problems with it, and it's been needing to be upgraded. So we got a Delta Regional Authority grant that is going to help us upgrade that system. So once that's done, I estimate probably 2 weeks, Magistrate Tompkins, and I will be putting a invitation to bid out, an advertisement to get the meters replaced.
No, that's not what my question was. My question was, people, like say I put in for a new meter because I'm building a house.
Oh, the delays on the meters.
Yes.
Yes. The contractor that's finishing up with the airport is also going to be helping out with meter changeouts.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I apologize.
All right.
Did you talk to my guy yesterday?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I actually called him yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
And so at the airport where that's a new line, I take it?
Well, when they did the first taxiway and runway extension, we actually had some lines that didn't get reconnected, and now with this second extension, they're actually getting reconnected.
Okay.
And
So-
it's really important because that's that western side of the county towards the communities of Geneva and Smith Mills.
Yes.
They only have one feed, so if something happened to that line, I'd have a lot of people out on the western end. With this new connection, I'll have 2 feeds.
So you are going, that's what I was going to ask. You are going to loop it into
Yes.
the others?
Yeah, it helps with water quality and also helps with redundancy for, system.
Yes.
I was just going to ask about where are you at as far as hiring more people, more help, because I know that's a key portion of this project.
Yes, sir, Magistrate Starks. We have hired 3, and they're all doing really well. I actually have some screenshots of our GIS to show just what the mapping the GIS tech has done. He's doing a great job. We got the equipment procured, and we're getting our valves mapped, and it's really going to help with this whole project. So the other one's a meter reader, and the other one is a field technician to help fix leaks. So
Okay.
it's going well. We just don't want to hire too many people and be training intensive. We still have other things we have to do for
So
operations.
you still have board of hire?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's encouraging to me that you're making progress even before the full amount of
Yeah.
resources can be brought to bear. So I've had a couple anecdotal stories about road ditching crews noticing some water flowing where it might not evidence of a leak. Have you been able to follow up on some of those?
Yes,
Yeah.
Happy Acres was one.
Yeah.
There was one on Old Noblick that the road department superintendent called me about, and we got it fixed probably last week.
Good deal.
So,
Do you have any other questions of Mark? Thank you. Appreciate
okay,
it.
thank you.
Next, we have Shannon Hill, who'd like to offer comments on the wind project discussion and resolution we're about to vote on. So ask her to come to the mic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Shannon Hill. I am a resident of 16751 Bluff City Road. I thank you for putting me on the agenda. However, I am going to yield my time to Mr. Shields. I do want to make one statement. We, the citizens of Henderson County, are requesting a complete prohibition to wind and all green energy projects from this day forward. I did have a complete presentation, of course limited to 5 minutes. I think I would have needed more than 5 minutes, but I feel our attorney needs to speak, so I'm yielding my time to him.
Good morning,
Morning.
lady and gentlemen.
Morning.
Dane Shields. I'm going to talk with you just a few moments about Plan B, a 2-year moratorium. How long does it take to exercise due diligence on a project that once it's built, you're going to have it in your county for 20, 30, 40, 50 years or more? What are the questions, what are the answers on the topics of, are there adverse environmental concerns? That's a question. Do we have an answer based upon objective scientific evidence? What about property values? Once you get this built, what are the long-term effect on property values? Health effects, if any. Do we know science from long-term objective study? Safety concerns. Do we have the data, the engineering, the science of long-term effects? What about when you get this thing built and it comes to the end of its natural life? How do you dismantle this thing? What's inside those blades? What's inside of the turbines? Do we know the answer to that? Have we gone to communities that have allowed these projects and gotten their input objectively? Have you talked to the communities that have said no thanks? And what are their reasoning for that? I'm asking for the consideration of this court of a 2-year moratorium so due diligence can occur through planning and zoning and the members of this commission, who is the legislative body and the executive part of the county. How tall, building-wise, is 700 feet? If you had a building that was 700 feet tall, how many stories is that? How many buildings in Henderson County do we have that are 700 feet tall? What is that? Is it 30 stories? Is it 35 stories? We're going to build 50 to 90 of these things in the county. That's a massive piece of machinery that has moving parts to it. What is the long-term science on these projects? Who's going to benefit from this? We have a huge out-of-state company trying to bring it in. Most of the land is owned by Penn, Virginia. Are they a local corporation? The money generated from the turbines to the landowners, it'll be sprinkled out a little bit to the middle class, but the main recipient of the land is Penn, Virginia. Where are they at? Money's coming out of the county to build a project that we know very little about, and then the money's going to go out of the county predominantly. So I'm asking for simply due diligence. And I'm asking for your consideration of a 2-year moratorium instead of a 1. It's in your discretion, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, no further comment. I will say that those are all legitimate questions. The next item is the resolution referring this matter to the Planning Commission, which is the process we must follow. In the resolution that we're going to vote on, the moratorium is 1 year, as was discussed in the last fiscal court meeting, but in the course of its deliberations and based on input that any member of the public will be able to give in the public hearings that go along with this process, you can absolutely suggest a further moratorium, a longer moratorium, for all the reasons you just mentioned. There's some question about moratoriums with ordinances that have not yet been passed. That'll be something that I'm sure the Planning Commission attorney will consider, and the members of the Planning Commission may consider. But again, there's going to be robust public hearings that will give everybody on this issue a chance to express your opinions about all the questions Mr. Shields just presented, as well as the length of a moratorium. So with that, you have before you, gentlemen, the resolution that begins our normal process. And any other comments about this or questions? I'm sure you've had a chance to read the resolution.
So just to be clear, we're following normal procedure, and based on the planning commissions, they may outright say, no, we don't want it, doesn't work, or, hey, you're right, we need to do 2, 3, 5-year moratorium. Correct? That's what we're voting on to send to them today.
Yeah, we are asking them to begin the normal process that any business must go through to gain
Just want to make sure that's
zoning
clear.
approval. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to clarify, there's actually 2 things in here that are being sent to the Planning Commission. Number 1 is an immediate moratorium, okay? The second thing is a referral to start them on the process of coming up with a comprehensive regulation that could be anything up to and including a complete prohibition. But they're kind of 2 separate processes, and we're referring both of those, putting the immediate moratorium in, and then setting them on the process to do the more long-term, whatever the regulation's going to be. Do the fact-finding and all the things that we're talking about. Does that make sense?
So,
there's
let me
actually-
make sure I understand this. So what we're doing today is putting in a 12-month moratorium for the Planning Commission. That gives the Planning Commission 12 months to work on the process. And if they wanted to further the moratorium at any time in the process that they're working on it, they can, correct?
They have to have 2, there's 2 things that are being sent to the Planning Commission, and they have to have hearings on each one. Okay, the first is that initial, hey, we're putting the brakes on this moratorium, right? And there's, that needs to be for however long the Planning Commission needs it to be. Right now, I believe the July 1, 2026 number was there, it'll be until such time as the amendments are made on the long term. So if for some reason, by some miracle, they were able to get all of it done, have all the different hearings and everything that they needed in 6 months, 9 months or something, they're still going to come back with that full long-term comprehensive amendment. They also can, like you say, come back and say, hey, it's going to take longer. They can send back, after having their hearing, looking at how long they think it's going to take to get testimony about all of those things, have fact-finding hearings, then originate text and send it to the fiscal court. That they may come back and say that takes them longer, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Yes.
It's more about that process and the length of that process.
And the hearing that the Planning Commission has is going to be open to the public. It won't. It's all going to be public.
Has to be,
right?
per KRS 100.211, absolutely has to be.
So here's the rub that I've got. The planning commission meeting will be August, after we send this to them.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, it won't be a full 12-month moratorium. It needs to be a 12-month from the time that they do it. I mean, if we do it July 1st, they didn't start, that's not a full year.
Well, we put in July 1st. We keep saying a year. It's practically a year. But again, that's something that the Planning Commission can consider if it's enough time or if it's not, and if they need more.
It can be whatever date
So we're
needs to
giving-
go in there. It's whatever date that is, as a practical matter, is the amount of time that the Planning Commission needs to
Right.
follow their
Okay.
process.
I don't know if I can call
No,
point of order, but
I'm sorry.
could we have clarification on who makes up this committee for this
You need to, ma'am, all due respect,
Moratorium.
we need to have you sit down.
Okay.
We'll have time at the end and go to the county if you'd like to speak, but
we're going through this right
So
now.
how does the public know what's happening if we're never allowed to discuss
We need-
what's going on?
We're telling you exactly what's going on.
Democracy dies in silence. I'm
telling
you. Why can we not know what's happening in our
We're-
own community?
We're saying exactly what's happening right now. Okay, ma'am, please. So, you're going to have plenty of time to ask questions, you can public comment, we're talking, well, we'll have time we'll have time to go to the county at the end if you'd like to speak.
After we voted.
Let people speak before you vote. You people are representing us. Judge, you guys.
I understand what you're saying, but yeah. Yeah. Ma'am, hey, please, that, we are, let's go through this process, please. And we'll have time at the end to speak. You're going to have plenty of time to ask all these questions to the Planning Commission, and they can make changes and refer suggestions back. Sir, thank you. I've heard you. Let us get through this, please. And you're going to have plenty of time to register these objections that you might have. Please. I get it. Okay, no.
It's not objections. We want information. We want to know what is happening.
I need, listen, I need you to be quiet while we do this, please. Be respectful of the agenda, and please understand what we're doing here. You are going to get plenty of chances. No, please, we're not taking any more comments right now. I'm sorry.
I'd like to ask your county, my county attorney, his client, is there any other options that they have other than to pick the one-year moratorium? Because one, the one-year moratorium was a conversation with Cordelia, which is a conflict of interest. He is a benefiting party, a benefiting company. He should have never been in the conversation of the dealings when coming up with the time frame of the moratorium. That is unethical. So, does your client have any other options today other than doing the one-year moratorium?
From a purely legal standpoint, a moratorium that lasts longer than it will take the Planning Commission to go through their process can be considered a taking. And in the Constitution, we are protected from takings from the government without due process, right? So it needs to be however long the Planning Commission needs to go through their process. If that's 3 months, if that's 3 years, it needs to be that amount of time.
Okay, so then how can you consciously, in good faith, take a vote on something you haven't even heard from the Planning Commission of how long they think it's going to take?
The first
That's why I
part,
was asking if there was any other.
We're voting on it, but that's why we were asking the questions we were asking.
Okay, so there is no loophole that Cordelia Rock Bluff would be able to use, even if the moratorium is there, and say that it gets decided that it is prohibition, that they can still continue with their project?
we're not going to know what the ordinance says exactly until we go through this process.
Right. There's no ordinance, so what we're voting on, when we put it into the Planning Commission, if they need more time, they get more time.
So it's all back on the Planning Commission, so now we need to focus our efforts to the Planning Commission to put in prohibition or a longer moratorium. Is
The
that what
next
you're
step
saying?
is to...
Is that what you're saying?
The next
They
step
make
is to...
recommendations to the fiscal court with regard to that ordinance text.
That's their job.
So that's what's being referred to them today. And that's what at the beginning of this I talked about. This is really 3 processes all in one ordinance. The first is an immediate, like as of today. Paragraph 4 says, from the minute of the adoption of this resolution, the Henderson County Fiscal Court the City County Planning Commission, the Henderson County Board of Zoning Adjustment, the County Codes Administrator, or any other department, subdivision, agency, board, or commission of Henderson County government shall neither accept nor process any application for rezoning, conditional use permits, building permits, or other types of applications for industrial scale WECS, wind energy conversion systems projects, towers, or installations. So that goes into effect immediately, as soon as this resolution is passed. Then the second layer of that is that a more robust moratorium goes into place. There's created a Section 33 of the planning ordinance, the zoning ordinance, called wind energy conversion systems. And it's very short. It has a couple of definitions about what a wind energy conversion system is, and then says there's moratorium. And kind of mirrors that same other language, that during this process, there's not to be any applications processed or anything like that, while the Planning Commission is doing their longer process. So then the third layer of that is that process is followed to do the fact-finding hearings, to do those longer-term regulations that could be up to and including a full prohibition.
Okay, and I had...
So it's really a three-layered thing that we're talking about. So the amount of time of the process that it's going to take for Planning Commission to do that, there could be any date put in there. If you put, let's say we said, well, we want a 20-year moratorium. Sure, sounds great. We don't want these 700 and something foot things around here. The problem is that in that situation, under current case law, that's a lot longer than it needs for the Planning Commission to go through their process. That's essentially cheating the landowner out of their opportunity to go through that process and can be considered a taking. So really the moratorium needs to be whatever amount of time that the Planning Commission legitimately needs to go through their process.
Or they can just recommend a prohibition altogether.
Yes, but they have to go through a process
Correct.
to do that has to be based on findings and evidence at the public hearings that they have. Something that an agency does, if they just kind of pull it out of the air, that's under administrative law, something that the legal phrase they use for it is arbitrary and capricious. Most of us would call that just kind of talking out of your head, right? If the agency is just pulling something out of nowhere, it gets overturned. So that's why they have to have these public hearings and base it on that testimony. The things like, what are the effects that this is going to have on the environment? What are the health effects? What are the effects on landowners? All of those sort of things have to come in before that Planning Commission hearing. And then the Planning Commission, after that fact-finding hearing, they originate the text. There would be a comprehensive regulation on that. And that could be anything, like you said, from a complete prohibition or height restrictions or anything like that. So that process is still to go through. But what this resolution is doing is trying to give them the ability and breathing room to make that happen, whether that's 1 year, 2 years, however amount of time that they need.
Right. So when I was at the last fiscal court meeting, I inadvertently spoke to House Bill 299. Since then, I had sent that to you, and it's House Bill 291, and that was derived or instituted based on Mason County, Kentucky, and the non-transparency with their project and lawsuits that could come about because of the non-transparency. In doing my research for the last 2 weeks since the last fiscal court meeting, of course, that's information that I was going to present, but since we had the limited 5 minutes, I felt that I needed to give it to Mr. Shields. It definitely shows that not only Cordelio, Tenaska, Rock Bluff Energy, but the Planning Commission and Fiscal Court has been non-transparent. And I have evidence of that through text messages, through emails, through phone calls, through documentation. That was all received through the open meetings records request.
So the definitions in this resolution are largely word for word from Mason counties. Mason counties was a much longer comprehensive thing after they went through that whole process, but the definitions on that short term, that second layer of the moratorium that I told you about are essentially word for word from Mason County's regulations. So,
But your client is aware of the ramifications of House Bill 291, that they could be in violation and lawsuits could be brought against them for the non-transparency that has happened since 2022.
there are laws that require transparency, yes.
Okay, but that's what I'm asking, I mean, because I gave you that document.
Yes.
So did you make that available to the rest of the fiscal court so they know what there is a possibility of to them?
They go through trainings on that. I didn't specifically send that. You
Okay.
didn't ask me to do that. I'm sorry. I didn't realize
No,
that
that's
was
fine. I'm
what
just, I mean, I don't know what you do.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of packet is prepared for them ahead of time. I gave you that document
Yes.
since it was,
Well, I say if you're going to do it, let's get after it, one way or the other.
I will tell you, I will be speaking with Mr. Shields and
That's
giving
fine.
him my information about file.
We're trying to do the best that we can, and threats keep happening, and that's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's within
Right.
your right.
Well, that's why I was asking if there was another option that could be done, still put on hold today,
I hear
not
you.
even doing the 1 year. I do not agree. That's why I asked with complete prohibition as of today for the entire community of Henderson County.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand, we need to move on. We need to move on, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I just have one clarification for Mr. Gold. You had stated that as of the minute that that ordinance is, or that moratorium is passed, that it would be 1 year from there. So is that as of today?
No, okay. And it's kind of confusing because there are three things going on in this resolution. The first is that immediate, as soon as this is passed, that's a very short-term thing, because really, anytime the law, KRS 100.211, requires us, anytime there is any amendment to the zoning ordinance, the fiscal court can't just do that. They have to send it to the planning commission for a hearing, okay? And then the planning commission has to send it back. What that section 4 was an attempt, because we all want something in place like right now, right? So that was an attempt to put something in that very short term. And then, so that's the first layer. But really, to be sure that there's a moratorium, we need that second layer that actually does go through planning and zoning and gets done. That makes it clear how long that, that there's a moratorium there. And then the length of that, actually, when I drafted this resolution, I just left the date blank because it really depends on how long the Planning and Zoning Commission actually needs to get that done.
Right. I think I understand. So it seems like 1 year would at least buy us a little bit of time. Could we make that year effective as of today instead of backdating it to July 1st?
So, okay, again, we've got three different things going on here, and I know it's confusing.
sorry,
Without having this whole thing sitting in front of you right now.
No.
There's three things going on. No, there's not a date in the immediate one that takes effect when the resolution.
Okay.
But, I'll be honest with you, frankly, that one's a little more legally questionable as to whether we can actually do that. I didn't want to come out and say that because I didn't want these wind power folks to know that. But you asked, I'm telling you.
appreciate you.
All right? I'm by asking, no, that's kind of helped them. But that's legally questionable. So to make sure that there actually is a good and valid moratorium in place, we have that second layer that by law, anything we put in the zoning ordinance has to go through planning and zoning. So really that first thing that goes into effect today is really only for that time period between now and when the Planning Commission gets their moratorium passed into the fiscal court as an
Okay.
ordinance, if that makes
Okay.
any sense.
Could
So
we
that's a
at
very,
least,
very short-term thing.
Yeah. Could we at least hold the applications till 1 year from today?
Sure.
hold all applications being
Again,
processed?
That's what this said. As far as the
Okay.
date, again, it's really the date that it's going to take the planning commission to get
Okay.
that done. And frankly, if you put 10 years in there.
Sure.
And the planning commission gets it done in 11 months. Legally, that's the time when they send something to the fiscal court with their full recommendation. The fiscal court has to act on that. They can have their own hearing at that point, or they can reject it and send it back for further findings possibly.
Okay.
But the fiscal court really needs to take action once the planning commission does their thing, no matter what the date is in the resolution, if that makes any sense.
It does, a little bit. I appreciate you educating me on
It's-
that.
well,
And I
I-
appreciate all of you,
I've
sitting
gotten
up
an
here and-
education in it the last few weeks too, because I'm not a zoning lawyer. I've had to reach out to Tommy Joe Friday, who's the
Right.
planning commission's lawyer,
And this is all
get
new
schooled
for
a lot
all of
myself.
us. So I appreciate you guys doing your due diligence and listening to our concerns.
Sure,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution. So bear with me. This is resolution number 2530, resolution originating proposed text amendment to Henderson County zoning ordinance found in the Henderson County Code of Ordinances in Appendix A thereof, which would create Article 33, Wind Energy Conversion Systems, or WECS, of said ordinance to institute a moratorium on the industrial scale WECS and referral to the Henderson City County Planning Commission, or HCCPC, in compliance with KRS 100.211, directing the HCCPC to hold appropriate fact-finding public hearings necessary for HCCPC to originate proposed text amendments to the zoning ordinance for comprehensive WECS regulations, and directing the HCCPC, the Henderson County Codes Administrator and Board of Zoning Adjustment, not to accept or process applications for WECS projects during the moratorium process. Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court is tasked with providing for the general safety and welfare of the citizens of Henderson County, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court, pursuant to KRS 67.0833, shall have the power to carry out governmental functions necessary for the operation of the county, which includes planning, zoning, and subdivision control according to the provisions of KRS Chapter 100, and whereas as stated in 1.01 of the Henderson County zoning ordinance, the purposes of the ordinance include promoting the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community to facilitate orderly and harmonious development and the visual character of the community, to regulate the density of the population and intensity of land use in order to provide for adequate light and air, and whereas the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan includes the goal to wisely plan for land uses in appropriate locations to maximize quality design and minimize the adverse impacts of development, with the objective to preserve agricultural land while protecting the economy and heritage of rural areas of the county. And whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court deems it in the best interests of Henderson County to make certain amendments to the Henderson County zoning ordinance with regard to industrial wind energy conversion systems. Now therefore be it resolved by Henderson County Fiscal Court as follows. Pursuant to KRS 100.2113, the Henderson Fiscal Court hereby proposes and originates the amendment of the Henderson County zoning ordinance by creating a new chapter entitled Article 32, Wind Energy Conversion Systems, WECS, reading as follows. Number 1, definitions. WECS is all necessary devices that together convert wind energy into electricity and deliver that electricity to a utility's transmission lines, including but not limited to the rotor, nacelle, generator, WECS tower, electrical components, WECS foundation, transformer, and electrical cabling from the WECS tower, substation, operational meteorological towers, communications facilities, and other required facilities and equipment as related to the WECS project. B, industrial scale WECS, a wind energy conversion system capable of generating more than a cumulative maximum power of 5 kilowatts constructed on the property of another by a company or corporation or other entity whose general intent is to capture wind energy and place it on the electrical grid for resale to a public utility or other energy marketer. Small scale WECS, A wind energy conversion system designed to provide to a home or other local site for use by the owner whose total height does not exceed 50 feet with a generating capacity not to exceed a cumulative maximum power of 5 kilowatts and shall not entail net metering capability. D, a WEX project, a collection of multiple WEX as specified in the application for development plan approval and/or improvement location permit. E, a WEX tower, the support structure to which the nacelle with turbine and rotor are attached, but may be used in the context of the tower, nacelle, turbine, and rotor collectively. Moratorium. The remainder of this zoning ordinance and all other ordinance notwithstanding, there is hereby imposed a moratorium on the filing, processing, review, and acceptance of the Henderson Fiscal Court, the Henderson City County Planning Commission, the Henderson County Board of Zoning Adjustment, the Henderson County Codes Administrator, or any other department, subdivision, agency, or commission of Henderson County government of any and all applications for the rezoning, conditional use permits, building permits, or other types of applications for industrial scale WEX projects, towers, and installations. This moratorium shall remain in effect until July 1, 2026, or until such time as the amendments to this article, if any, are approved by Henderson County Fiscal Court, whichever comes first, unless repealed or extended. Small-scale WEX for purely residential purposes shall be considered non-residential accessory uses and may continue to be processed in the current manner. 2, the Henderson Fiscal Court hereby directs and requests the HCCPC in compliance with applicable laws to hold at least one public hearing pursuant to KRS 100.211.3 after notice as required by KRS Chapter 424, and to make recommendations as to the text of the amendment in numerical paragraph 1 here and above, and whether that amendment shall be approved or disapproved, and to state the reasons for its recommendation. If the HCCPC is of the opinion that the originated text should be modified or amended, the Henderson Fiscal Court hereby directs and requests the HCCPC to originate the proposed amended text with all deliberate speed pursuant to KRS 100.211.3. The Henderson Fiscal Court hereby further directs and requests the HCCPC in compliance with applicable laws to hold at least one fact-finding public hearing after notice as required by KRS Chapter 424 to gather testimony and evidence sufficient to originate a text amendment to the zoning ordinance which would constitute a comprehensive WEX regulation in accordance with the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan, as the same may possibly be amended. As soon as practical after the necessary fact-finding public hearings, the Henderson Fiscal Court hereby directs and requests the HCCPC to originate said text amendment and hold a public hearing thereon pursuant to KRS 100.211.3 after notice as required by KRS Chapter 424 for proposed adoption by the Henderson Fiscal Court. From the adoption of this resolution until action by the Henderson County Fiscal Court on the text amendment in numerical paragraph 1 here and above, the Henderson Fiscal Court, the Henderson City County Planning Commission, the Henderson County Board of Zoning Adjustment, the Henderson County Codes Administrator, or any other department, subdivision, agency, board, or commission of Henderson County government shall neither accept nor process any application for rezoning, conditional use permits, building permits, or any other types of applications for industrial scale WEX projects, towers, and installations. 5, the provisions of this resolution are severable, and if any provisions or parts thereof shall be held invalid or unconstitutional or inapplicable to any person or circumstance, such invalidity, unconstitutionality, or inapplicability shall not affect or impair the remaining provisions of this resolution. I entertain a motion to approve.
Before we do that, it's Article 33. You said 32.
Yep, sorry.
Just want to make sure we got all that straight.
Apologies.
Those
Article
Roman
33.
numerals. It's those Roman numerals that got you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? No. Any other discussion on the board? Any other discussion on the court?
There seems to be a misunderstanding on what the first step is here. This is what we do as a first step. Subsequent to that is down the road at some point. Okay, we talk about a 1 year right now. I think you've heard it could be several years. We don't know at this juncture. You know, and Ms. Hill, as far as transparency, I don't really know what you was referring to.
Everybody here does. Everybody else does. Exactly what you
We haven't done anything. Today is the first step.
in the past emails we've seen, I'm not trying to accuse anybody of crooked, Mr. Schneider, but you gotta understand, are we supposed to just trust you now? And act like you're, you know, what happened at Roberts? Y'all talk to anybody out there?
That went through the same process, sir, and we need to keep the discussion here.
Judge, I call for a question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same process.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You guys are elected.
Yeah.
Remember that, Judge. You guys are elected. The only people that's gonna make money from this are the only people for this,
Sir,
people
sir,
that's gonna make money.
please wait till the end, and I'll give you a chance at the end to say whatever you'd like. So, we hear no no's, the ayes have it, motion passes. At this point, I'm going to call up Ginger Miller from Animal Control. Oh, Gina, I'm sorry. Where's Gina? I'm sorry, Gina.
Good morning.
You should have your animal control reports.
I'm going to start with animal control calls and incidents. Animals at large, 44. Welfare checks, 30. Sick and injured animals were 9. White cases were 9. Abandonment reports was 3. Livestock related calls were 3. Cruelty, torture complaints, 2. Deceased animal removal was 4. Aggression complaints, 1. No proof of rabies vaccination was 1. Emergency boarding was 1. Follow-up investigation was 2. Animal intake from May 1st through June 30th, we took in a total of 89 animals. We've got 3 court cases pending right now. Animal type, dogs, 55, cats, 34. So, that's it.
And operating at a full
staff.
complement of officers? Yeah.
Full staff.
Right to hear that.
Yeah.
Any other questions of Gina?
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Next, you have in your packet a couple resolutions that will help our EMA. I think number one is a mutual aid agreement. Kenny, I'll ask you to come up and give us a quick briefing on both these documents.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Okay, so the first one will be, I believe, the Emergency Operations Plan, and that's an annual update that we do. The Emergency Operations Plan is a countywide document that handles basically our most basic response criteria. How would we respond during a hazmat incident? How would we respond during law enforcement incidents or search and rescue, communications things? So there's chapters in this document that handle all of that. And this is, like I said, this is just a annual update. We didn't have any changes from last year, so this is pretty much a non-update update.
Yes. And this is the document with the title Executive Order on the top. Get a quick motion to approve that emergency operations plan.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other questions of Kenny? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm sorry, who was the first motion? Who? Ben, and then Ted?
One of us.
Okay,
Yep, just
thank you.
take your pick.
Next is the resolution, mutual aid agreement statewide.
Right. So the state of Kentucky came through, and they've been working on this for at least 2 years, maybe a little longer, where they've come up with a mutual aid agreement where all of the counties can work back and forth with each other. All emergencies start local and end local. So in the meantime, if we run out of resources locally, we can request resources from neighboring counties, and then when we exhaust that, we go to the state, and then when we exhaust that, we go to the federal government. So this is the statewide mutual aid agreement, so that it basically accounts for things like reimbursements. If we have to go to help someone else in another county, those reimbursements can go into effect, so that we have to pay someone to go help, say, Union County. Union County can reimburse our employees That's just one of the provisions within that document. So it lessens red tape so that whenever they do need help or we need help, we can just call and everything's already in place. It's really a big legal document for getting help from other communities and giving it.
I move to approve.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Next up is an ordinance that I've gotten calls about, and I think you probably have too, and it's based on a state law that was passed allowing certain types of special purpose vehicles, utility vehicles on county roads and other streets, as long as they are licensed. Several other requirements of that, but I think especially our rural magistrates have had some interaction with people about this. I welcome any other thoughts you might have on it.
Seems pretty straightforward to me what they're allowing. If you put forth, come get inspected and have a license plate and don't act inappropriate and abide by the laws, gives you a little more flexibility on getting from place to place.
Any other thoughts, Magistrate Southard? Because in the past, obviously, uses of these types of vehicles in ag purposes have been exempt and used often, but this would extend that a bit.
The ag use, you're supposed to have a slow-moving sign, and I don't think it requires a slow-moving sign. This is one of those things I'm in favor of, but it makes me nervous. That makes sense. I worry because I drive a vehicle and I see the inattention to detail on vehicle driving. It makes me nervous to be out here on a side-by-side with a F-250 coming at me at 70 miles an hour. But I think it needs to be done. So,
Judge, I want to thank Magistrate Tompkins for his leadership on this. He's been in contact with Kyle Evans in our office, who was taking the lead on drafting this. He really gave a lot of valuable input, and want to thank Magistrate Tompkins for that. The ordinance pretty much mirrors the draft CAECO model ordinance in this respect, but there were a couple of options within that model ordinance that Magistrate Tompkins was real help with. So thank you.
We'll read the resolution, and so we can hear. I'd like to read the whole resolution, so those watching and
And it is an ordinance, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it has to
Twice.
take two readings.
Oh, yes.
Just prior to Chip Stauffer, Sheriff, my understanding of this ordinance is, so people in the county that are watching this understand, it doesn't give you the right to write it in incorporated parts of the county. So the city, until the city does it.
Correct.
Roberts, until Roberts does it. Smith Mills, all the communities that are incorporated. So I don't want to give a false sense of folks thinking, oh, the county did it, I'm gonna write in from Smith Mills to the city of Henderson. And there's a 20-mile restriction on it as well.
Correct.
But I just want to make sure that people understand that if the county does it, it doesn't
correct.
allow them to come to the
As
city
with
and do
any,
it.
that's a very good point to bring up. But as with anything else, personal responsibility comes in place. They are supposed to read that. But I'm glad you brought that up.
100%, but I also know that we've had folks come in
They'll say, oh, the county said you could do this. You're right.
Correct. I just
And
want
they
to
didn't
put
say
And
that.
just to clarify, Smith Mills is not incorporated.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I
it's
meant-
Corden, Roberts, City of Henderson, City of
Right.
Corden, City of
Yeah.
Roberts, City of Henderson.
Yeah.
They have to take independent action on it. This would apply in all the other areas
Correct.
of the county.
So, and
Excellent
as the
point.
sheriff well knows,
Excellent.
people have been riding them illegally forever. And so this gives them a chance, I feel, to make it legal. If they register them and license them and get all the appropriate equipment on them. Because, I mean, you know that we've dealt with that for years. So.
Correct. I
Yes.
second Magistrate Southard's concern with safety. Marshall County this past weekend had a fatality, UTV going out on the road, being struck. So
we had one last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was Union County.
yeah. So anyway, that would be my only reservation. But I also agree that they've been doing it, and it goes back to personal
And
responsibility.
to be
so.
clear, under state law, it does require insurance as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
An ordinance
The
relating.
ordinance, I'm sorry, first reading, I keep saying that.
An ordinance relating to the authorization for street legal special purpose vehicles to be operated on the roadways of the unincorporated portions of Henderson County, Kentucky pursuant to Senate Bill 63, 2025, as codified in KRS Chapter 186. Whereas 2025 Kentucky Acts Chapter 89, hereinafter the Act, became law on March 26, 2025, and allows for the operation of street legal special purpose vehicles on certain highways within the Commonwealth of Kentucky if allowed by ordinance of the local government within whose jurisdictional boundaries the highway is located. And whereas the act became effective on Friday, June 27, 2025, and was codified in KRS 186.077 through 186.078, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court acknowledges that special purpose vehicles are owned by and operated by a number of its residents, especially in the rural areas of Henderson County, and there is benefit to residents being able to utilize special purpose vehicles to travel on the roads of Henderson County, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court believes that setting specific safety and operational guidelines to ensure the special purposes vehicles are street legal as required by the law, which is important for the safety of residents who choose to operate special purpose vehicles within the county and for other motorists and roadways in unincorporated portions of Henderson County, and whereas by the authority in KRS 186.078, the Henderson County Fiscal Court has determined that it is in the best interest of the county to adopt this ordinance to expressly allow the operation of street legal special purpose vehicles on the highways within the jurisdictional boundaries of Henderson County, excluding incorporated areas of the city of Henderson, the city of Roberts, and the city of Cordon, or any other subsequently incorporated areas of the county in accordance with the act and this ordinance. Now therefore it be ordained by the Fiscal Court of Henderson County, Commonwealth of Kentucky as follows. 1, a new article of Chapter 230 of the Code of Ordinances of Henderson County, Kentucky shall be created, and Article 5, entitled Street Legal Special Purpose Vehicles, shall read in its entirety as follows. Section 23027, definitions. The definitions set forth in KRS 186.077, adopted as law pursuant to Section 1 of the 2025 Kentucky Acts, Chapter 89, hereinafter the Act, and as may be amended in the future by the Kentucky General Assembly, are adopted and incorporated by reference as if set forth fully herein. Section 23028, designated highways. Street legal special purpose vehicles shall be allowed to the extent permitted by the Act on the highways or portions thereof that are located within the jurisdictional limits of Henderson County, where the speed limit is 55 miles per hour or less. This authorization shall not extend to highways in incorporated portions of the county. Section 23029, exceptions. Street legal special purpose vehicles shall not be allowed to operate on any highway or portion thereof located within the jurisdictional limits of Henderson County unless allowed by this ordinance. B, on any highway or portion thereof, this is a controlled access system, including but not limited to an interstate or parkway, or C, on any highway or portion thereof where the United States Department of Agriculture prohibits special purpose vehicles. Section 23030, prohibitions. A, street legal special purpose vehicles are prohibited from traveling a distance greater than 20 miles on a highway displaying centerline pavement markings. B, mini trucks shall not be operated as street legal special purpose vehicles on a highway that has been constructed pursuant to a federal highway program. Section 23031, operation requirements. Before any owner of a street legal special purpose vehicle as defined by Section 1 of the Act may operate or permit its operation upon a highway, the street legal special purpose vehicle shall A, be equipped with all of the required safety equipment in KRS 186.077 1C1. B, be registered with the county clerk's office in accordance with KRS 186020. C, display the registration plate issued by the county clerk's office. D, be insured by the owner or the operator for the payment of tort liabilities in the same form and amounts and set forth in KRS 304-39110 for motorcycles, and C, comply with all requirements of the act of this ordinance. Section 230.32, effective date. This ordinance shall be effective on August 15th, 2025.
Any questions? Get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve first reading. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks for reading that along. Next, I'm going to call up County Engineer Nick Stallings. We have several items to work with him on.
All right, it's time of year again for asphalt, to see if I can go out for bids. If you all approve me, go out for bids for asphalt. We got to typically go through the three magistrates to get all the roads picked. We're going to do the same thing we did last year and year before last. We'll go through and give them a list of roads that we want to pave, give them a timeline to pave it. That way the contractor's questions are answered. It gives it a little bit closer numbers. That way they're not guessing when, where, and how much. With this information, they know when, they know where, and they know how much asphalt. So best way we can do it to get the best numbers we can. So
Is it both asphalt and concrete?
no, bituminous concrete, that's an older school name for asphalt, but it's just asphalt.
I move that we let him go out for bids.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, then this year, looking for a big purchase for equipment is a tandem dump truck. Our single axles, we got 8 of those, plenty for our fleet. We're looking to get another tandem truck. Right now, both our tandems have around $215,000 on them. They've had a couple major issues that we've had to repair. We lose a tandem, we lose a lot of big component in fighting salt. So, salt and, snow and ice out in the eastern part of the county, western part of the county, when we get a long ways away from home base. So they're definitely a big use for our fleet.
I'll make the motion to go out for bid.
Second.
Yeah, motion and a second. This is budgeted item.
Yes, budget, yes.
And any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, next is our tree cutting contract. Last year, Turner's came in and did a bid. They were successful in the winning bid for the tree cutting. They've been really responsive. Typically, a couple of days they give us to get out there and remove any trees that are in close proximity of falling to the road. If it's a dangerous tree, they're out there within a couple hours. Obviously for a business that's doing other things besides the county work, you got to give them a couple hours, but they're real responsive. They do good work. They clean up everything. They let homeowners know when they're cutting the trees. They make sure everything's adequate, safety-wise, and safe removal of the tree.
Yep.
So their contract had where they could possibly be extended for 2 years. So I'm asking them to be extended another year, and then we'll see how this year flows out to see if we want to extend them for the 3rd year.
I would move to give Turner's a 2-year extension.
Yep.
With your recommendation.
2 year, 1 year.
Which one you want?
What I would do is
Just asking for, okay, I just saw 2.
I would just do another year.
Okay.
To see how they work, because that way they're not tied into
Okay.
contract too.
Yeah.
I'll rephrase that to a 1-year extension
Yes.
in
And I'll
Nick's
second.
recommendation.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, this last one may be a hornet's nest, may not be, but I've been approached about speed limits on roadways, looking at speed limits. Ultimately, it's going to be a county fiscal court, approval if we want to change speed limits. But as an engineer, there's abilities I have that I can go through and follow AASHTO standards, federal highway standards, that I can follow either by 85th percentile of the traveling speed of the roads, by the geometrics, by the congestion of how many houses, pedestrians, bicycles, crash history. 1,000 things I can look at to change the road speed limits. Also, it'd be nice to put every speed limit at 35 miles an hour. Everybody will love it, right? Except the drivers. There's also drivers on the other side saying, hey, I like going 55, I like going 60. A driver will drive the speed they feel comfortable with on the road. Now, you're standing on the side of the road, you see 55 miles an hour, and that's fine, right? But on the other side of it, if we make every road 35 miles an hour, the sheriff deputies will have nothing to do but write tickets all day. So that is the point that I say the horse nest is. Obviously, everybody wants 35 mile an hour speed limit, but then again, they drive too. So you're driving on a road that's wide open. Do you want to be reduced at 35 if you can go 55 or whatever, right? So obviously, this is going to be some time for me to look through. It's going to take some time up, but ultimately, it's going to be a fiscal court decision. So I'll asking you all's approval to even start the process.
Can we do 45?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
You know, it's 55 if it's not marked now.
Yeah, it's
And
every road.
That's always been a,
every road
Sheriff,
considers
you know it too. I always had complaints about people flying. They're doing 50, 55 miles an hour.
Yes.
Well, the speed limit's 55.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that, though. If it's not marked, it's 55.
Yeah,
So,
the way AASHTO has done their geometric designs of the road, everything starts at 55.
Yeah.
And if it goes higher, if you got freeways, limited access,
Right.
it goes lower if you have congestion, turn speeds, and that kind of thing. So ultimately, it's something I can look at. Some roads could be 45, some roads could be 35. We got roads out here to 15 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Again, it's whatever, but it would be me giving you all a recommendation of what I think we see, and then ultimately you all can say, we don't want them 35, we don't want them, whatever it is, right? But again, one thing I've got to look at is there's drivers on the other side that's saying, if I got to drive 35 miles an hour everywhere, now it's taking twice as long to get somewhere.
Sure.
You got roads out there that 55 is awesome. So it's just going to be, some time spent to look at it. So that's what I'm asking if this is something y'all want to vote on to even start looking into.
I don't have a problem with a study. As long as it doesn't take up too much of your time, you'll be the judge of that.
The problem I have with it is if it's not enforced, it's going to be whatever it is now. And let's be honest, our sheriff's department does not have time to enforce these roads.
Oh, I
just
get
don't.
it. I get it. And I mean, I'm coming up here just so that way I take information from people. People ask me, hey, can you look at this? I just don't want to give them the bullcrap answer. Sorry, can't do anything about it. I can. I'm trying to, but I'm just giving you all the ins and outs. That way, at least, they're watching court. They're saying, hey, look, Nick came up to it. Nick had a Nick brought it to the court.
Well,
Right.
And I hear what you're saying too, but if we don't do what we're supposed to do here and give them the ability to enforce it, then if they do have some time and they can, they at least have the ability to do it. So I think we should do the study.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I know, Tim, over the years, we've had a lot of complaints about people driving fast. They were driving fast for that part of the road,
Right.
which was 55. But people didn't know that. And I explained that to people, and some of them didn't believe it. They said, it can't be 55, but it is. So I don't want to give the sheriff more work to do, but I still feel like that we ought to at least look into it.
Yeah.
And one thing, just to let everybody knows that's watching this, is if the speed limit is on a yellow background, it's advisory. He can't give a ticket for somebody going 55 miles an hour on a curve that says 35. All that is engineering determination about the speed as you go around the corner, right? It's got to be white background. That becomes regulatory. The other one's just advisory. So, I understand, people stand by the side of the road. Somebody drives past them at 55 miles an hour. It's like, holy crap, he's going 100. I stood on the side of interstates before doing survey work. I mean, people running 70, 80 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It's just your perception of how fast people are going. This is the study I will do. As time prevails, start doing a hierarchy, start knocking out some of these roads and looking at them. If we can reduce, we can. If we can't, some roads have congestion amount of houses and then may go a mile and have a bunch of houses. They may go 3 miles and have a few houses. Well, if we're changing the speed limit from 35 to 55, 35 to 55, 35 to 55, our speed limits are become shot up and stolen. I don't know why, people just love them. all right?
Stop signs too.
Yeah.
And road signs.
So people love them in the garage or man caves or whatever, right? So if we lose a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit, now last thing somebody saw was 55, right? So we also got to be coherent of how often we change the speed limits.
That's
That's part of the study.
And you make a speed limit and the sign's gone tomorrow.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. So I don't know that.
They steal them all.
I understand that, but it's not enforceable if it's not marked.
I think this also dovetails, doesn't it, in some way with the new safety grant that we received?
Yes, that's that's sign study. So all of our inventory. So the new signs will be put up during that sign that they're going to put up with contractors, right? Well, if I get this study up front, then I can say this road is this road is this. All this is ordinances. It's in the E-codes. It's all got to be approved. We got to walk down the roads and what the speed limit is. There's already a bunch of speed limits already set. There's not 55 miles an hour on the E-codes already for Henderson County. We would just have to add to it. And if I can get to this point, then that could be some of the signs that are put on there. There's options you can do on state roads. County roads are probably not as frequently traveled, but you can do speed tables, you can do chicanes, you can do markings to give somebody the visual appearance that the road's getting shorter, narrower, so they will slow down until they understand they don't have to, right? But there's things you can do, but again, at what point do we do that with county money to say, hey, we've got 375 miles of road out there, so I'm just letting y'all know what could go between, all four, change the speed limits for everything, or you also got the drivers who say, hey, I think 55 is good for this road, don't make it 35.
Did we get a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to do the study.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Good luck.
All right.
Nay.
Next, I'll call up Jailer Todd. We've got a couple reports and some reconciliations to consider.
Good morning.
Morning,
Ladies and
Todd.
gentlemen. You have, I think, before you our quarterly report. We're still doing well. We are still working on expansion. We've reviewed the prints. We made some changes, so we should be getting them back pretty soon. We'll discuss with the judge the next step.
I think after you get all that in hand, really going to entail a workshop to get the fiscal court around the table and talk openly about potential of an expansion, costs, and the benefit. So just work with me on that, and we'll get it scheduled, Bruce.
Judge, I move we approve the quarterly report.
Anything else you'd like to say about the
No,
quarter?
I'm just saying we 538.
Got you. Do you have many open positions?
3 or 4. We got probably 3 or 4.
Just 3 or 4? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I think there's like 4 males. We got plenty of females. They're on the schedule, but we've got maybe one more on second.
So we have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the quarterly report. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And Jailer Todd, your crews that work on the road do a good job.
Thank you.
I see them out there working hard, so we appreciate that too.
I'll let them know. They'll appreciate that.
Yep.
Next is our canteen account, our annual reconciliations. Just need approval on those. They balanced out, so we're good on that. I think we got it for you.
Explain to everybody again what the canteen account serves and where the money comes from.
It's our commissary money. Comes from the inmates purchasing.
And the money can be used for anything that helps them?
The money is used to help the inmates. All that. That's what the canteen can be used for, to provide inmates with new clothing.
Recreation, job training activities, anything like that.
Yep.
And it is not part of our regular budget. It supports the budget, augments the budget, so it's a good thing.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the canteen account reconciliation. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we have the inmate account.
Inmate trust account, it's basically the same thing.
Well, this is money that they put in themselves or their families.
Right.
You hold it for them for their purchases.
Yeah, where they can provide, the public, they can provide money for tablets to their college, make phone calls.
Yep.
That's the money they use to put in.
Any questions? Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
Next, you have the regular sheriff's monthly report in your packet. Chip, you have a comment?
No, I just figured everybody else was getting up, so I figured I need to get up too.
We get
Go
a
ahead,
motion
Steve.
to accept the regular monthly report from the sheriff.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The next is the 23-24 oil rebills. This is state taxes on oil pulled in the county, and they do a reconciliation every year. We got to approve it, and it's part of our mineral tax revenue. So we need a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about the oil rebills? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. I did well.
Anything else?
No,
Anything
no,
going
sir.
on?
No, right now we're good. Everything's
Okay.
well.
We wasn't trying to make you busier either with
Yeah.
that road study. But
No, that was Nick. Nick
Blame it on
laid
him.
the groundwork first.
Yeah, blame it
Yeah.
on him, yeah.
Good deal. Thank you. Now the county clerk's report. Renee Sabner.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today, I have for you the monthly report for June 2025 and also the quarterly report. So the excess fees for June were $128,904.84 with a total remitted to the county of $174,672.08. That is $16,500 more than the same month last year. And for the quarterly total for the county, remitted to the county is $540,985.50, and that is $3,500 more dollars than the same quarter in 2024.
Any
Move to
questions of
approve.
Renee? We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, I've got 6 checks today. Jail fees, $225, and flow through from the city, $458.33. Aflac, $364.74. Health insurance, $15,744.87. Dental, life, and vision in the amount of $705.46 and $11.10, bringing the total to $17,509.50.
Motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Treasurer Ryder.
I have one transfer, and it is as presented, and this is redistributing appropriations within the existing budget. I also have a cash transfer from the state grants fund to the jail fund in $20,065.31. This is to correct electronic fund transfer errors from the Bureau of Prisons for housing for the months of April and May of 2025.
Yeah, no matter how hard we try, we keep putting in the wrong account. We catch it. Let me get a motion to approve the transfer.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You have received your bank balances after paying claims today. Your day-to-day appropriation line should be at approximately 8%. You will notice that some of your appropriation lines will be at or near 100%, and these are due to once-a-year insurance premiums and dues. I have no additional claims.
Any discussion before we approve claims? Motion to approve?
Move to pay the claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions of Brenda? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Old business. I did, at the last meeting, say that we would be running our best ordinance past some kind of experts out in the world who may want to give us any indication of whether there was anything missing or not. And I have sent that to 3 or 4 folks out in the world that I identified, and getting a hold of them is a little difficult this time of year, but they have them. One included the chief of the fire department in Contra Costa, California, where they had a fairly significant best fire probably 6 months ago, and I'm hoping to hear back from him on his thoughts. I thought that would be a good person to get some perspective on. The others are 2 fellows who work for consultant firms that either construct fire safety systems for BES or respond to them, or consult with fire departments about dealing with BES. So waiting to hear back from those people, but I'm interested in their input. Now we'll go to the good of the county, and anybody who would like to speak for good of the county, please come to the mic. Good morning. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Hannah Heron. I live in Niagara with my parents, and I am in college. Today I would like to raise some questions and concerns I have regarding the wind turbine project. I'm first going to start with some of my questions. I was wondering when Cordello Power received a business license to operate in Henderson County, if anybody was aware of that.
Allison, is Allison our occupational tax administrator with us?
She's not in here.
I will take that and go find you an answer.
And also, you just recently stated about you have been looking at experts.
I'm sorry?
You've been looking at experts recently regarding the wind turbines and other programs. And I was wondering if you were looking at any environmental factors besides fires or health risks, wildlife issues, that sort of thing.
I'm going to, Allison, this is our occupational tax administrator. Allison, do you know if Cordello Power has a business license yet? Need to fix that. An occupational license in Henderson County. Do you have one in the city? Your office is in the city, I know. Might meet with Allison right after. Business license is $25, so you might get a visitor, Allison. I'm going to send a request to the Planning Commission Executive Committee to see if they do in fact want us to provide that expert opinion. I'll wait for them, but the answer to your question is yes, all those things we'd like to, if we are requested to do so, we'd like to get people who can speak to all the things you just mentioned.
Okay. And now I would like to go into my concerns I have about the wind turbines. I've researched this numerous times through government websites, universities, local newspapers, and the World Health Organization. In order to be brief today, I have a packet that I can hand out to each of you after I'm done speaking today. So I first would like to start with the issue of wind turbines possibly interfering with the Doppler radar. Posey County themselves has researched this, as they have vetoed the idea of wind turbines due to this issue. And the National Weather Service has also wrote articles on this, on how it can interfere. To give a summary of one article, it states, wind turbine clutter or interference can have several impacts, including thunderstorm or winter storm characteristics can be masked or misinterpreted. There could be reduced warnings, reduced forecaster situational awareness, and this can occur particularly and not including only hazardous or severe weather events. This issue can affect thousands, not just in our county, but the surrounding county, as the turbine proposed sites are on the border of our county. So this could affect Davis, it could affect Webster, it can affect Union, or it can affect Vanderburgh County. Moving on to another issue I'd like to raise is the protection of wildlife. Henderson County is well known for its wildlife. To give a few examples, Henderson has many sloughs, Ottoman State Park, and wetlands. These areas are homes or paths for many migratory birds, bald eagles, and other animals. In fact, Henderson was designated as a national natural landmark in 1974 and as an important bird area of Kentucky in 2006 by the Ottoman Society. One of the proposed wind turbine sites, based on the information given to the FAA Aerological Study, sits right between the Sloughs WMA Ash Flats unit, an area that is noted as an important bird area. Moving on to health risks, the World Health Organization has written a book on night noise guidelines. In this book, it discusses how disrupted sleep from sound can have ill effect on people and harmfully affect children, elderly, and ill people. Some examples include issues with cardiovascular response, cognitive issues such as difficulty in learning new skills, adverse psychological effects. This can occur at decibels of sound to 40 or 50, which may be like someone talking. So even if that is a low sound, it can still affect people. It can still have ill effects. I also believe that flashing lights that will have to be put on these wind turbines because of how tall they are also could affect people's sleeping patterns as well. And I think this is also a major reason of concern because of many sites being proposed close to people's homes. With one notable site based off of the FAA Aerological Study, and it has coordinates on there too, you can look that up. It is 0.2 of a mile away from Spotsville Elementary School. That is a major concern to me. Another raise of concern I have is based off of information that the National Library of Medicine has available. The article discusses fire risks and fire protective measures for wind turbines. It is noted that these accidents are low at 143 accidents per year, but no one expects that to happen, but it can, as the data has shown. Out of this data, it was shown that the top 3 accidents for wind turbines are blade failure at 19%, fire at 15%, and structural failure at 9.7%. Fire is a major concern to me, as I understand that the entirety of Henderson County is not equipped to fight a fire at 720 feet in the air. I also believe that most of Kentucky isn't able to do so either. When dealing with blade failure, it is astonishing to note that in the article it stated, quote, "In some cases, a turbine blade could travel up to 1 mile from its original area," end quote. The terrifying fact is that blades can weigh anywhere from 2.5 tons up to or over, in some cases, 55 tons. The bigger the turbine, usually the bigger the blades. I would also finally like to discuss structural failure. It is important to note that many proposed wind turbine sites are proposed on old coal mining land, both surface and underground mines. The University of Kentucky released a geologic study in 2004 noting hazards that the county has, including, quote, "A geologic hazard of Henderson County are several underground coal mines. Precautions need to be taken when developing over old mined areas because of the possibility of subsidence. Surface coal mines are prone to settling after reclamation, which may affect structural foundations and roads," end quote. Other articles also discuss these issues and how the dangers of what some dangers are building on reclaimed coal mines. Not to mention, we are in two major seismic zones. Thank you for your time today. I believe that on the examination of the facts, wind turbines are not a good fit for Henderson County. I have a document with more points of concern that I will now hand out at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, young lady.
Thank you. I would encourage anybody with similar concerns to express these at any public hearings that are scheduled and you have access to.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak for good of the county?
Very well done. Good job. Good job.
If you don't mind reintroducing yourself, just for the record.
Hello, good morning again. My name is Shannon Hill, and I am a resident of 16751 Bluff City Road in Henderson. A couple things that I just want to make point of and at least get on record. The Rock Bluff, from just what I can find, the Rock Bluff Energy Project dates back to at least 11/8/22, when there was a Tenaska and Cordelio and Rock Bluff Energy Park introductory meeting. Almost 3 years have passed, and Rock Bluff continues to state to this day that they are in early planning stages, and there's not enough information to inform the Henderson County citizens or the community of their plans. From the beginning stages of the Met Tower projects, it's on record that the Henderson County Airport had concerns about the towers being a potential obstruction that could impact the airport's operations. The Met Towers were only 197 feet, and the wind turbines are estimated to be 700 to 720 feet per Cordelio and Tenaska Rock Bluff team. With the size, there should be many more concerns to the potential obstruction that could impact the airport's operations. When I also started doing the research, it was brought to my attention that companies are people that financially benefit from an ordinance or referendum or any item that would be coming to a vote that's financially benefiting. That financially benefiting company should not be involved in the writing process, which also poses a conflict of interest. Non-transparency has began from the beginning of the Rock Bluff Energy with their low-key office opening on March 15th of 2023, where a couple of the head engineers for the project would be in town and would have been a great time to meet them and ask any questions. There was a personal invite from Steve Austin, the local contact for Rock Bluff Energy, to all the magistrates to attend the low-key opening. Low-key, why was it advertised as low-key opening? I do not know who attended, but there is a possibility that the Open Meeting Act could have been violated depending on how many were in attendance. I still have several Open Records Acts meetings that I will be requesting information from after combing through the hundreds of pages of documents. So I will be coming back with that information.
Ms. Hill, are you assuming, though, that we had more knowledge of anything? I mean, I got a notice about it. I didn't attend. I don't know if anybody did,
Well,
be honest with you. But, do you think that's like
that's just
an
one
announcement
piece.
that they're going to be here?
That's just one piece of the puzzle, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. There was a Rock Bluff PowerPoint presentation given by Tim Vogt and Kyle Gerking on November 9th of 2023. That PowerPoint could have been a useful tool to start conversations with the Henderson County community to be transparent in their envisioned project. The PowerPoint states that the potential, it could contain 40 or more turbines across hundreds of parcels and more than 20,000 acres, with the conclusion of the PowerPoint stating that the envisioned project would lease up to 30,000 acres. 30,000 acres is what their entire envisioned project entails. I have never heard that. All I have heard is the 11,000 acres that they currently have under lease. What I found in the PowerPoint from November 9th, 2023, their project is 30,000 acres. This project has grown from 40 turbines up to 93 that has been stated in the recent publications. There's been multiple text, email conversations with Tiffany Allison and the Cordello and Tenaska teams while our local officials have been trying to navigate the next proper steps so there's not another situation like we have in Robards, which is all on public record stating that many mistakes have been made. Her team has had a hand in writing and sending in suggestions, edits, multiple other communications, even referencing that the county may implement less restrictive requirements that would enable or entice development in their respective counties. This is clearly a direct conflict of interest since they are financially benefiting they are a financially benefiting entity. On May 8th of 2024, Tiffany Allison told Mr. Schneider that in regards to the Rock Bluff project, they were preparing visuals and a presentation that they wanted to discuss when they would be coming on their next visit. This also could have been some information for the public that they could have alleviated where we are today. Sorry, I'm trying to weed out a little bit of this. There was a communication from Mr. Bishop in October of 1424. He has repeatedly sent messages to the Planning Commission, to Fiscal Court, with his recommendation, his professional recommendation, that there should be a cap in regards to the acreage. The first one I found had to do with the acreage of the solar farms, and it's due to the Robards community and the negative impact on the farming community based on the amount of tillable land being lost and the impact on the purchase or leasing of land. This one project at Robards put Henderson County at the national average, and when you include the other two projects that were already approved, it exceeds and would likely double the 2% average. Cordelio Power's engineer told Brian, Jennifer, and Randy that one turbine could be seen 20 to 30 miles away and would be seen from Evansville, Newburgh, Owensboro, etc., based on a map that was created using the 20-mile suggestion viewing from the Cordelio engineer. So whenever you do your studies and whenever you do your talks, I believe talks with those communities, since it's going to affect their communities as well, their government leaders and their government needs to be involved and their input as well. It's been stated that Rock Bluff, I don't even know what to call them, Rock Bluff Energy, Cordelio, Tenaska, whoever they are, their subsidiaries, they keep being asked for details or maps or information, and they keep saying that it's too early in the project, it's too early in the project, we don't have any details. That clearly is not true. Not if they can develop PowerPoints, if they can do presentations, and not just one, but multiple over the last almost 3 years. So we are definitely not in the early stages. One of the big questions I have, and this is a new topic that I'm going to get on, is the reclamation and the bonding of the actual ground, because that is the majority of the land. Has all bonds been released? Does anybody know? Have all bonds been released to the coal mine ground?
No, not all.
Okay. So if so, there are some that are recorded that have been released, and what has not been released that you know of?
We can get you a map. Over the years, you're talking about all the Penn, Virginia ground. All
Correct, because that is the majority of the project so far.
Over the last several years, piece by piece, parcels within that footprint have met state guidelines for release from bonds, and they're working through that now. Are the bonding company, or the what's the proper term for them? The company handling what was left of the bonds after the bankruptcies were filed. So slowly but surely, each of those parcels is getting released, but they're not all released yet.
Okay, so it's kind of, and I did read that in the Planning Commission, but it was in regards to another project. They're kind of getting the cart before the horse, and that's kind of how that is. I would think that they would have proper bonds on the property that they are leasing for, hopefully to have projects on that land. Has all the reclaimed land been returned to the pre-mining condition as per the surface mining ordinance?
The ones that are released, the answer is yes, to the state satisfaction and to the surface mine committees.
Okay, so who signs off on that?
The state and the Surface Mine Committee.
Okay, so what has not been returned to the pre-mining condition, and how long do they have to do that?
I forget the exact limit of time, but I can get you a map if you'd like of
Yeah, yes, because I live,
what
sir, I
remains
live
down
in,
to-
I live in that area. Like I said, my address is 1675 Bluff City Road, and my foundation is crumbling because of the mine and the ground. So this.
You said 1675 Bluff City Road.
Bluff City Road. Mm-hmm.
I can send you a map of the remaining parcels that have not been released.
Okay. I have some more, but I think I've taken up enough of your time. So, Mr. Putman, these are some of the non-transparency things that I was implying and referring to, and this has been going on since the beginning when they wanted to do their low-key opening. There's been private dinners. There was a dinner at the Henderson Public Library. I can't find where it was advertised and open to the public. I don't know who was in attendance, but I plan to find that out. There's just lots of instances where
Ms. Hill,
possible.
I kind of take exception to that. You're just kind of I feel accused of something that.
No, I can only go, sir, I can only go by who it's addressed to in the emails. I didn't get complete records when I requested the opens meeting. So when I got the invitation, the invitation for the meeting, it's like, okay, so where was it advertised? It was all of the magistrates were invited, who attended, who didn't attend, was there an open meeting act violated? And I won't know that and then I couldn't find that it was open to the public. I couldn't find where it was advertised for the public to attend. So, I mean, I'm here trying to represent the citizens and Henderson County community.
I appreciate that.
So-
But again, by the same token, I think we're looking out for your best interests as well. It's the whole community. It's,
Right. And I'm saying there has been non-transparency from the beginning, and I've told you, I have facts, I have evidence that it has been non-transparent from the beginning. So,
A private business can hold a private dinner in this community. And
Is your claim that there's more than 3 elected officials that set up here was in attendance?
oh, well, that I don't know. I'm just saying their, Rock Bluff Energy states that there is not they're early in the it's in the beginning stages, in the early stages, there's not enough evidence, because the community has asked, why haven't we had any community meetings? Why haven't we been given any information? And they say there's no information to give. We're in the early stages. And that is false. So, I mean, if you can have a community dinner or a private dinner, I'm not sure who it was intended to, or if they can have private landowner meetings or dinners or at Sandy Watkins, why can't they do the same thing for the community and present the same evidence or the same information that you're giving to the potential landowner? You know, you might be able to get one of us on board. I might want to sell my property, but you've been hiding facts and not sharing, so therefore that automatically puts up a red flag with me, and I'm going to dig and dig and dig until I find all the answers.
Just so I understand. Is it our responsibility if Cordelia wants to have a whatever, and just because we get an invitation, doesn't necessarily mean we went, but are they, I don't know the answer to this, but I don't know that they're obligated to advertise it.
Well, you might want to check with your county attorney, especially if you're going to be in attendance, and if there's at least 3 in attendance.
There's a Kentucky Open Meetings Act, and if there is public business conducted or decisions made, each of the magistrates go through training, I believe annually, but I know at least when they're newly elected, and then I believe annually they have refreshers from the Kentucky Association of Counties on open meetings laws and what the do's and don'ts are, is my understanding.
Right, so maybe
hear what he said, though. public business discussed, decisions made.
But if,
Because we go to conferences all the time. We find ourselves in the same room all the time. Not every instance of us being in the same room is a breaking of open meetings.
it's
law.
not just decisions made, though. I mean, if they're persuading you or giving you information that no one else is privileged to, then that is not.
Do you have any evidence of any decision we've made publicly in our positions as elected officials when it comes to Rock Bluff that is somehow more advantageous to them than anybody
That
else?
I didn't. I'm saying this goes back to the non-transparency and not keeping the community informed of everything that's going on.
But again, what evidence do you have that any influence has resulted in votes that advantage Rock Bluff over any other business that are going through our planning and zoning process? Anything that we've actually taken a vote on?
I'm not.
We're not concerned that you're taking other businesses over top of
I'll let you come up here in a second. Miss Hill has the mic.
Okay,
Yeah.
you opened this can of worms, Mr. Schneider. So I have documentation where you, in your position, asked Tiffany you reached out to her that if Yellow Throat Battery Storage and Rock Bluff Energy would be sponsors and pay $1,500 each for the Henderson Literacy Initiative.
Henderson Leadership Initiative.
Leadership Initiative. That is not a request that was appropriate for you to make with your capacity and your with your position with what you've been doing with the company. I mean, you're the one that's had all the contact, all like the communications back and forth, and that's highly inappropriate for you to.
I disagree, and let me tell you why. Cordelio and Rock Bluff established an office in this community, joined the Chamber of Commerce.
Illegally,
and
apparently, because they don't have a business license. But
well, they'll get
okay.
a business license, I guess.
And they've been here
But-
for how long, though?
But let me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
They literally asked, not just me, but other people in the community, about things they could sponsor, events they could sponsor, anything they could sponsor to be more ingrained in the community, to help the community. They asked me that question, and I referred them to the Chamber of Commerce and HLI. And after a period of a couple months where the executive director of Henderson Leadership Initiative hadn't heard from them, she asked me if I could reach back out and remind them of that.
Right,
And so I
so,
did,
but
and
do
that's
you-
it. They
oh.
didn't end up sponsoring anything, and I
Okay.
didn't push them.
Okay, but let me interject here. So the
And I get
director,
that request from lots of companies, by the way.
the director asked them to sponsor, and they wouldn't respond to them. So then the director asked you to reach out to them,
Mhm.
and then they replied.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well, I
that's
don't-
using
I don't know if they
using
replied.
your. I do know they replied, and they did say that they were interested. And
Right.
Tiffany sent that message to you, and I have
Okay.
that message.
Okay.
So
I get
that's
asked
you,
that all the time.
That's you using your position of authority requesting funds for a private project.
That's me using my knowledge of entities that could use sponsorships that they asked me about.
You're going to have your opinion, and I will have mine. I'm just getting the facts out there, and everyone else can have their opinion as well when it comes to election time. Okay? I believe that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On the planning commission that oversees the research that is being done during the time of the moratorium.
I'm sorry, did you introduce yourself just for the record? Did you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I introduced myself earlier. But my name is Rachel Bray. I live at 444 Wedding Lane.
Thank you.
So who is in charge of this planning commission and who sits on this planning commission?
They have an executive committee and a chairman, and you can just refer to Brian Bishop as to the makeup of the planning commission. It has something like 10 or 12 members, and they're all people from the community.
Okay. And are these open meetings?
Yes.
Okay. Are you all involved in the Planning Commission? Are you actively attending these meetings? Are you checking with them to see where the research is heading in this direction and what information that they are obtaining as this is going on?
Well, since we just referred it to him,
Well, just referred it to on the wind energy, but I thought we were in a moratorium also for solar panels.
we are.
Okay. So are you all actively attending these meetings knowing that your community is highly concerned about the so-called green energy that is coming into our community and eliminating the green in Henderson?
When the Planning Commission has items on its agenda, which I or any of the other magistrates feel is relevant to us specifically, or something that we need to hear specifically, we do. We don't always attend because not all the agendas are made up of anything that's really hugely earth-shattering.
So how many meetings have you all attended?
Total? Forever?
For the Planning Commission for either the solar panels or the wind power?
They haven't had one on wind power yet.
Okay.
The solar panels, I think I attended every one that dealt with any final decisions by the Planning Commission or final recommendations.
Okay. Is there a naturalist that is on this committee?
I'm not certain there is, no.
Okay. Are you all going to look into finding a naturalist to participate in the committee so that we can observe migratory paths of our birds, who Henderson County is obviously well known for, and our monarch butterflies that Audubon Park also tags every single year in the fall? It's getting ready to come up at the end of August and the beginning of September. What about the hunting and fishing in our community that also brings people in from other areas? How is this affecting our tourism? Are these areas that are being looked at by the Planning Commission? Because I have not seen any information about who is on there other than there is water flooding that is being monitored. Obviously, they're not doing a really good job of monitoring Robards, because Robards looks like a construction zone, and it is totally inappropriate, for what it looks like when it was supposed to be well maintained. There are so many questions about the environment and our ecological system that is occurring with just what's happening out in Robards. And so I am very concerned about what's going to happen throughout our entire county. This is God's country. This is the prettiest state in the entire United States, and it's being destroyed. And so when we are talking about planning commissions and what we're looking at, these are things that should be priorities at the top of the list. That's my youngest daughter. She's 10 years old. She's sitting here asking me if we are still going to have bald eagles out in Bluff City after these wind turbines come in. The answer is probably no. So are we thinking about our kids, our future, and what is happening here? And if there's not somebody on this planning commission that is taking these things into account, we need to know. We have endangered species in this city, in this county. Everyone who's in attendance, if you don't know, there is an app called iNaturalist. It's on your cell phones. You need to be taking pictures of every bald eagle you see, every bat you see, every insect you see, the red-bellied, copper-bellied water snakes that you see. These are all endangered species. They need to be protected. We, as a community, owe that to our earth to protect it. We also should have learned during COVID that food scarcity in this country is real. We are doing away with farmland to put in green energy products that have really no benefit for anybody in this community other than the people who own the land, and not all of them live here. These are serious concerns, and I feel like these meetings are occurring here during the day, and I know that's your normal scheduled time, But we need some more open public forums where people who cannot attend these morning meetings can actually come. Because I promise you, the people that you see here, this is not everyone. There are hundreds of thousands of people in this community who are upset, who are outraged. I am a Girl Scout troop leader. I work with 4-H. We talk about what is happening with our environment through this stuff. I'm also a teacher. This is the future. This is the next 30 years. I'm going to be old and possibly gone by then. This is my kids' and my grandkids' life. So when we are talking about this, I know that you guys get defensive, but we are also getting defensive because this is our families. This is our future. This is our county. And if you are not emotional, and if you are not upset, and if you are not defensive about this situation, then you are heartless. This is stuff that has to be taken care of. I will get with Brian Bishop because I want to know who's on this planning commission. I can give recommendations. I can give you information. I can give you scientific data. I have been reaching out to naturalists. I have been talking to people. And every single naturalist that I talk to says that bringing wind turbines where they are talking about locating them is a danger to our endangered bat species here in Henderson County. They will all affect bird migratory pathways throughout the northern part of the county and out in the wetlands and the wildlife refuges. This is something that should have been taken a look at before zoning was even done. And I know you guys are working on it. Sounded like you kind of got caught off guard in the first place, but we need to take action on this immediately. Some of this information cannot just be obtained in one single year. It is going to take years for us to decide the environmental impact. 1 year will not be enough, but I can tell you starting now, I've sent out the iNaturalist app to the Girl Scout troops in Henderson County. I've posted a web page for the naturalists of Henderson County to start documenting and taking this information into account so that we can have our own recognized by the state of Kentucky scientific data to bring forth to this commission, to you all, so that you can understand what impact this stuff is having on us. And just on a side note, if you are representing a company and you are wanting to come in here, your PR for your company is so bad right now, you probably should have taken him up on some offers to sponsor stuff in the community, because what you look like right now is that you've came in here and ravaged our town yet again from corporate America, and you are poisoning our land, and we don't appreciate it.
I will say in response to a couple of those questions, I'm sure the Planning Commission will take all those concerns very seriously. And just so you know, in the permitting process federally for wind turbine facilities, they have to get permits from Environmental Protection Agency, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, so those concerns are taken into account in the process that they have to go through. But thank you. Yes, ma'am. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name's Carrie Nicholson, 8115 Mill Cates Road, Roberts, Kentucky. I'll say Roberts. I've grown up there my whole life. First of all, there are many concerns in Roberts. We are directly across from my home. They're beginning the process of Seabury Solar Phase 2. With that comes a lot of concerns. I've witnessed Unbridled come in. I've witnessed Seabury Solar Phase 1 come in, and then they haven't broke ground yet for Phase 2 across from my home. But I was just recently informed that they received a permit on May 28th, 2025, and I was under the impression that they had already previously received the permits prior to the moratorium. So that was a concern for me. which led me down a rabbit hole. I had reached out to several of the the magistrates, and then I was led to Brian Bishop's office, and then I was led to the codes department for my final explanation. And the final explanation was that this had to be issued on this date because it was previously approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. I didn't understand the process. I had contacted codes prior to that because I was concerned about the overgrowth of the property across the street from my home, along with the overgrowth of the solar fields that are functioning at this time and the solar fields that are soon to be functioning on OD Road and along the railroad tracks. Finding that out, the codes department told me that the growth could not be taller than 12 to 18 inches. If you drive around Roberts today, you'll see a lot taller than 12 to 18 inches in all areas, including the solar fields, even the operating solar fields, which becomes a concern. With that concern is fire safety. And I have family that has adjoining property to functioning solar fields. And if there were a fire in that area, elderly people may not be able to get out at that time. So I reached out to our volunteer firefighters. I reached out to Cairo Volunteer Fire Department. I reached out to Roberts Volunteer Fire Department. Neither one of those fire departments said that they have received training or are capable of handling a field fire of that extent, which concerns me. I also found out with each of these permits, they were capped, the permits were $500,000 permits. The one on May 28th was a $500,000 permit. We're a quarter into this moratorium process, and we still do not have any researchers out there. We don't have fire safety. I've had a fire at my home. I know how scary fires can be. And when I had a fire at my home, Cairo Volunteer Fire Department was there. Roberts Volunteer Fire Department was there. They were there to protect me and my family. When they tell me that they're not capable, they're not equipped, they don't have enough people to fight a fire like that or to protect our community, I'm really concerned. Next, I'm concerned about the water runoff. At our open meeting, Kevin Martin clearly stated that he has water runoff on his property. Judge, you clearly told me there were no complaints of water runoff, but there is. And I have a picture today that I would like to share with the magistrates. This picture is taken on Spencer Thornberry Road in Roberts, and it shows a green dye in the water runoff. And if anyone else would like to see the picture, I'm willing to share that as well. That concerns me. Water runoff like that could also get into the water, our drinking water. Another concern that I have are the residents of Roberts have complained of low water pressure. I saw on Facebook that the solar company is hooking up to the fire extinguishers in Roberts and utilizing that water to fill their water trucks and to service whatever areas, maybe to clean the roads. I'm not sure what they're doing. Magistrate Tompkins could probably answer that better than I could. He meets with them on a regular basis, as he's told us all before. I know that the water is being metered, and I'm sure that the solar company is paying for it. That just doesn't seem fair to the residents of Roberts to have low water pressure. Oh, I'll have to wait until the solar company's done before I can rinse my hair out. I heard Nick Stallings speak of the studies that he's going to do for the streets, for speed limits. And every time that I've complained of the streets in Roberts or how terrible they are, how torn up they are, I get the response that these streets are bonded. They're bonded by the solar companies. And I wanted to know, how long does it take for these bonds to come through? How long do we have to drive on these torn up roads before the solar companies actually come in and do something about it? When do you hold them accountable at their bond?
When the construction's complete.
Okay, do you have a completion date?
September is when the reconstruction of the road is going to start.
Okay,
That's
so
when the overweight limit loads are going to be finished, and that's when we've already agreed upon to put it back to the correct depths. We've done core samples, the whole 9 yards. So starting in September, they will begin the resurfacing and rebuilding of the roads.
Okay. Again, we're past the first quarter of the moratorium. So I'm asking the courts again, when will you all begin to study the effects of the solar in Roberts? And how will that be studied?
I met with Frank Williams yesterday. He's a hydrologist who's worked with Henderson County before. He explained what we'd like him to do in studying runoff anomalies or flooding anomalies or anything that might be attributed to the solar farms. He's going to make a proposal to us on a contract. As soon as he does that, we'll vote on it and he will begin his work.
Okay, is that a private decision made by you, Judge, or is that a court decision?
He was suggested by Tim Southard, who works on the Water Flood Mitigation Board, and Frank Williams has a long history of doing good work for the county. And
So Frank was involved with the cut-through ditch that we did out in the Old Madisonville Road area that actually took Elam ditch and moved and transferred water to reduce flooding. He was involved in the ditch that at the airport. So I've seen his work and I knew he did good. What he has done worked. So that's why I recommended him. There was no other reason than that.
Okay, is that your only resource for research?
What he does is rare in the region, and I think he's very familiar with Henderson County, which is a big plus. So again, I'm going to accept his offer in a contract, bring it back to the court. If the court isn't comfortable with Frank Williams, we can go a different route. But he's one who can begin almost immediately after we sign his contract, or whatever date he'd like to begin. But I think he's the best choice.
With hydrology, now that's the water runoff and things like that. It's not the whole. He's not studying all of the things that we're touching on, but he is doing the hydrology.
Correct. So who will be studying the other parts?
I don't know.
What other parts?
There were 3 different things that you said that you all were going to look at during the moratorium for solar.
Okay. So runoff, glare, and vegetative buffers. So glare, we are going to be depending somely on Taylor Tompkins, who's through that area all the time. We're also going to be relying on any reports from our sheriff's office about glare reports. The vegetative buffer thing, I think, is also going to be working with both residents and our observations. The vegetative buffer is going to take a while to actually become what it might be. It might take a year to see what kind of growth they're going to have and how it's going to look. And after doing that, I think we can all make recommendations about tweaking the ordinance if we need to.
Magistrate Tompkins, have you agreed to do that research, the glare research?
I do it every week. I mean,
Okay.
I go up and down it. I can tell you
I do too.
approximate types of days that mainly east and west, but at the same time, you travel east and west on 416 at the right time of day, the sun's going to be a glare problem. You know what I mean? So roughly 12 to 15-minute intervals that I've seen, that there are 3 spots that I've found, but outside of that, I mean, I'll keep doing it. As far as north and south, I haven't seen any.
So are
serious
you
problems.
documenting that on a daily or weekly or monthly basis?
I can start putting it on a spreadsheet if you'd like. and I'll
Please
share it
do.
with you, you know.
Yes.
All right.
So do you, I know where Mill Cates is, do you live, or do you work in Roberts?
I live in Roberts and I work in Roberts.
Well, Mill Cates is kind of a hybrid, it's Cairo
It's in
Roberts.
between us.
Yes, yes. As I stated before, when I had a house fire,
Right.
Cairo and Roberts volunteer fire departments came to assist our family.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Well, I wanted to confirm that and just to make sure that, because I feel like Roberts is a pretty small town. And I would say with those 3 permits, $500,000 each, I would think that with Roberts, I would think that the fiscal court could hire professionals, not someone that says I have an anger problem and that I'm busy at my regular job, so I'll do what I can. Or, someone, I think that we should have a hired professional out there to study these things.
Welcome, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Deirdre McConaughey, Henderson, Kentucky, and hello, we've been
How are
here
you?
before. It's as though Ms. Nicholson has teed me up because I happen to have a very historical and specific experience. What I believe Ms. Bray was asking for, and it got a little muddled, is she wanted to know what was being studied during the moratorium. And I believe that's also what Ms. Nicholson was referring to. So on January 28th of 25, I attempted to ask those very questions. It apparently was not at the appropriate timing in the procedure, but my specific questions were exactly that. What will the procedure be to make good use of this time of moratorium? That was January of 25. In April, I attended the special meeting Roberts workshop hosted by Judge and attended by 2 of our magistrates. At that meeting, again, I asked, what will be the procedure for the moratorium? And I was told by the judge that it would be restricted to the language of the moratorium itself, the topical areas, that being the ones we've just discussed: glare, drainage, road damage, and vegetative buffers. There was another one added at that meeting by the judge that said we might need to look at bonding increases to make sure that the county's protected, from these projects. So I went and looked at the moratorium, and the moratorium language says explicitly, whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court has concerns about the sufficiency of existing regulations on Level 2 SES, those are the solars, installations based on observations of Level 2 SES installations being constructed under the current ordinance, important, including but not limited to a deleterious effect on drainage and glare and so on. So that means we can choose to study what we choose to study. It's not limited to glare and road and water drainage. So I came back and I attended the rescheduled workshop, special workshop. I believe that was in the beginning of May. at the courthouse, and I brought this to the attention of you, Judge, and showed you the language of the moratorium says we can look at what we want to study to our satisfaction. So, since then, on July 2nd, I sent an email to the magistrates, the judge, and Brian Bishop. And I laid out 6 areas. This is just me. I'm sure others would like to weigh in on what topical areas would be of interest to study. These are bigger issues than, not that road glare isn't a safety issue, it's something bad, but we have big issues to consider. So I laid out 6 topics that I thought merited expert and deep study. The reason being, it's a 2-year moratorium, and we are just now coming to the end of the first quarter of that. So if we do nothing, it's gone in a heartbeat, and that will be, well, it's unacceptable. The 6 topics that I listed in this email of July 2nd: property value impact. 2, environmental impact with regard to health and safety concerns, such as hazardous materials that may pose risks. 3, environmental impact with regard to ecosystem impact, including wildlife, birds, and vegetation. 4, impact on agricultural economy of Henderson County. Since then, I've also reflected on it should just perhaps be on the economy in general, because tourism, hunting leases, restaurateurs that feed people that come, you know, so the economy, I probably was too restrictive. I care about the agricultural economy, but the economy in general. 5, legal risks associated with these projects for the county and landowners, both participating and non-participating parties. And 6, the decommissioning impacts. At the Roberts workshop, I know, Magistrate Souther, that you said that you were looking into decommissioning. That is really something that's very important, because after 30 years, when these solar panels are taken away off that ground, they are deemed hazardous materials. No ifs and buts. They are hazardous. Well, when did that happen? Did it happen on that magical day of decommissioning? No, it happens over a period of time, right? So there are so many, these are really, really difficult things to do, and there are a lot of smart people here that are trying to do research, and we're chasing and trying to get ourselves informed. So whether it's an expert, it's not just a hydrologist. Who's going to talk to us about the economic impact on the entirety of Henderson County? This is much, much bigger, and it's really hard work. So for our attorney Gold, I got something for you. One thing that has been mentioned sometimes in conversations with magistrates or other, the judge, there seems to be a great worry that we not end up in a lawsuit. And I need help understanding that. And that's why I put in as number 5 in my list, because I just need to understand it. What jeopardy there is for the county, the court being sued, or landowners, and so forth. That being said, I'm going to share, made you a copy. 6 days ago in Breckinridge County, Kentucky, the headline is "Court Rules in Favor of Fiscal Court Solar Ordinance." So 6 days ago, a circuit court judge ruled in favor of the ordinance that a fiscal court put in place. They were being sued by Clover, by a big company, by Clover Creek Project. So yeah, lawsuits can spring up like mushrooms in all directions. So if you...
Deidre, I have a question.
Oh.
On that, the one you just read.
Yeah.
Did they ban them, or do they have solar panels?
Good question. So what happened... Sure.
And I'm learning too, so that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I mean, this is, hot off the
Right.
judge's bench. That's what I'm looking for. So the short of it is, and Attorney Gold, I fully understand, every legal case has its own particulars. I am not saying that this would be exactly what Henderson will encounter and so on. In fact, there's a wrinkle in it that is somewhat different. But to answer your question, they had developed an ordinance, and the judge and 2 of the magistrates voted for it, but 4 of the magistrates voted against it. And then Clover Creek came in and upheld, but the magistrates voted against it. So the judge and 2 of the magistrates were overruled. It can happen.
It's
So
majority.
when I get back to my 6 topical lists, it is hard to find experts, and it is going to take some resources. You need to include the community members, because that has been a big problem since the very first day of success in us in a reasoned way and as a unified community and not a divided community to look at these issues. So if it's a divide and conquer such that Attorney Gold can inform us about legal impacts, if there's some, it's just too much for one sort of person. But we are fortunate because we do have some local resources like Audubon naturalists, right? I mean, this is the home of John James Audubon. Surely we can find someone that can tell us what kind of tourism dollars that brings into Henderson, what kind of bird. Let's use what we have as soon as we can, because again, in my timeline, I started in January asking what this process would be, and I stand here July 22nd asking the same question.
Just FYI, Rock Bluff does have a city business license. We just confirmed that, so. They're addressed in the city, so that's where they pay their business license.
My name is Lisa Meyer, and my address is 13341 Highway 136 East. I live in Niagara. Going to the question regarding the solar panels and so forth for Roberts, and you indicated they're getting ready to start Phase 2. Okay, with all of these issues in Phase 1, do we have any recourse at this point? I'm sure if we halt Phase 2, they're going to be getting these other issues fixed very quickly, because I'm sure there are bonuses for the executives and, all these money things for their stockholders and so forth. So is that something we can do per the contract, is put a hold on Stage 2, okay, and make them fix these issues on Stage 1?
Actually, no. They were permitted before the moratorium, so we can't retroactively make them subject to it.
Well, still, can you put that out there to them? I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to make their life miserable.
We want to treat them fairly, and the law says
I'm not
that-
saying don't treat them fairly. I'm saying with all of these issues, you're just going to compound those issues by letting them move ahead with Stage 2.
But you just stated again that they were already permitted, but they didn't receive their permit for Phase 2 until May 28th of 2020.
They were approved, and then the permit was issued to them when they began.
They were issued and they paid the county on May 28th.
That's a construction permit fee, but the go-ahead was,
Why can't physical court, including everyone that's up here, send them a certified letter and telling them, addressing all of these issues and asking when they're going to rectify them? I mean, if you're not telling them, then you are part of the problem, because they may know what the problems are, but until they receive it officially in writing, start documenting.
I'm not sure we have the ability to require them to do anything
Again, you've
that they
got,
haven't already agreed to via the ordinance that we passed.
again, a letter that costs, I don't even know what postage is now, but that's all it costs. Send that letter, send it by email. I think all of you owe that to the residents of Henderson County to start taking action on these things. whether you feel like you've got the permission or what, you've got to start taking action. What's going to make them just go ahead and do the right thing? There's nothing.
They are required to satisfy the guidelines of our ordinance, and legally, that's what they're required to do.
How long do they have? Do they have a timeline to do those things, to satisfy the ordinance? What's in the ordinance? I just think you guys have to stand up, because they're running all over you now. Do you just want to be roadkill?
I object to that characterization. We're trying everything we can do to make them adhere to the ordinance that we passed.
And does the ordinance have anything in there regarding, the vegetation growing up? More than 18 inches, that is a mice, rats, all of those other things too.
That's a codes violation, and we can absolutely ask them to adhere to codes. And we can take those complaints and act on those.
That needs to be done like today, tomorrow at the latest. I mean, I feel sorry for these people at Roberts. I don't know what I would do if I lived there, but I don't want to see the same thing happen in Niagara. But you guys have got to start taking responsibility and start addressing these things. They're brought to you, and y'all just sit here and nod. You've got to do something about it. That's what you're voted for. That's why you're here. I mean, write them a letter. If you don't have postage, I'll give you the postage. And it doesn't even impact me. I live in Niagara. But I think you need to start taking action and taking up for your constituents and give them some help here. That's all they want, help. And there's no recourse for them. That's all I have to say.
Shannon Hill again. In this conversation, I want to refer back to an email on November 8th of 2024, and it's originated from Mr. Schneider, and this is basically saying it's not limited to just those 4 areas that was said earlier, and I will read what it says. His words are, "But I'm confident we do have good reason to spend 2 years studying the existing solar farms we have before we approve any more. Those include the solar panels' effect on drainage, and by extension, our county roads, driving safety hazards such as glare, the effectiveness of the vegetative screening requirements we have in our current ordinance, and any other issues we think might result in our changing of our ordinance based on what we observed during the moratorium." So that last part gives you an unlimited, you are not held to just those 4 items. And Judge, those were your words. So I believe that it's not just those 4 things. So any concerns that's brought up, and then once Mr. Tompkins starts, I guess, documenting those, they can be addressed and then that should be added into the moratorium.
Again, I'll ask, everybody here should take full advantage of the opportunity to go to any public hearings held as part of the Planning Commission process to express these same concerns. Please do.
Yes, thank you. My name is Cindy Bickwormert, and I live at 14834 Highway 1078 South. But I do have a question about business license. If I lived in the city, which I don't, but if I did, but I owned rental or had a business in the county, would I need a business license for the county or just the city?
I believe that you would get a business license in the city,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you remitted any occupational tax obligations you had, you would pay a ratio, certain amount, however much business you did in the city versus any business you did out in the county, and remit it both places.
Because, like I said, I live in the county, but I thought I understood how it works because I used to work at the city.
Mhm.
But, so, I have rental in the county. I pay you guys net profits every year. And when I have it in the city, I pay you net profits for the city portion too. I think I pay, well, the county. But my question is, if Cordello has a city business license, but they have leases in the county, they should have a county business license as well, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't think they have to, but they do have to remit to us a portion of whatever profit they make based on their work in the county.
Isn't that part of having a business license?
I think we only require one business license. Either you're addressed in the city or the county.
I could have swore I had two.
Or you do business mostly in the city or the county.
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
business.
Do you
in-
have two?
I thought I did. I don't have to look back.
Me too.
This past year, I know I only have one for the county, but,
I have a business in Carden, and I have a Carden business license, but I don't,
you don't have to have a
I'm pretty
city.
sure I don't have a
Yeah.
county one.
I
Now,
thought
you
when
can-
you fill out that net profits tax, that's like a business license.
Please double check with Allison
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that.
I'll do that. And also, I have another question. So I checked with my homeowner's insurance, even though I have earthquake and all this other coverage, I have no protection from any damage that may or may not occur, may occur, from any of these turbines, the vibration and all that. So, I mean, has anybody checked to see if any homes have ever been damaged by all these wind turbines and vibrations? And is that something that could be looked into as well?
Sure, there are so many wind turbines being used in the country right now. I'm sure there's
I mean,
data on
obviously,
that or some sort of option for insurance.
yeah. I mean,
I'd be interested in finding out.
yeah. I mean, because obviously the mines have caused damage to homes. We heard that here today, so. Okay, well, I was just curious about the business license because I thought you had to have one in the county if you're making any money at all in the county. I mean, I have to have a business license, but I have to turn it in. So I'm
Yes.
assuming that you're receiving money from them even if they don't have a business license since they've been here 2 years and have been obtaining leases.
Right, so, and remember that outside of the business license, which is just $25, and, you pay on payroll tax, the employees do, and then net profits, right?
Yes.
With a cap of $2,000,
I
right?
don't know. I'm not sure what it
Yeah.
is.
And,
I'm a
so-
small business. I don't have
In-
nothing like that.
In Rock Bluff's case, they have neither employees working out in the county or any profit. Obviously, they haven't built anything yet, so
Yeah.
they may not be submitting anything in that regard to the
Okay.
the
Well, I was just
occupational
wondering
tax.
how that worked as far as the business license for the county.
Well, I encourage both entities to check with Allison to see that they're adhering to our local ordinance.
All right,
Yeah.
thank y'all.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Anybody else go to the county? Yes, ma'am. Please.
Brian Bishop, Brian Bishop,
Yeah.
because I'm desperate. I don't know who he is. Okay. I just wanted to know who we needed to talk to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, with that, we'll go around the horn, as we normally do. Yeah, we have to go into executive session about a potential real estate matter. And I forget the KRS exactly on that, but.
61.8101B. Where's the statute on that? Deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when the publicity would likely affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency.
Motion to go into executive session based on that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We don't anticipate any other action after the executive session, so we'll just come back and adjourn after we're done. Thank you.
You're doing good to the county for...
No. We're so
Tristan.
Can I get a motion to come out of executive session?
So, second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.